patch 1.0.4 just got rolled out on the servers, which means New World's down for like 4, 5, 10 hours. Who knows how many hours it's actually down for? They're saying 4. It's going to be way more than that, so I have nothing better to do than read the patch notes. So we're going to go down these patch notes and we're going to talk about the big updates. Obviously, right out the gate, Outpost Rush rollout plan. That's massive. Let's know what's going on in Outpost Rush. Let's launch it. Let's get back in it. Everybody wants to be playing Outpost Rush, but there's a major issue here. So they're talking about how patch 1.0.4 is primarily focused on fixing the top issues. That's referring to like AoE Magic War exploits. That's a big issue, sure, but an even bigger issue is invulnerability. So the invulnerability glitch, which we talked about them not addressing in 1.0.3, they're saying that they're beginning work on addressing issues causing invulnerability. So invulnerability is still in the game, so I worry about Outpost Rush being rolled out just because a lot of people are going to get into Outpost Rush because it's available, and people are going to sit invulnerable on the points and never die, and it's just going to be a horrible situation where we just have unwinnable Outpost Rushes, and people are just going to get mad and not play the game anymore. The next big thing they're fixing is the issue that's preventing players from being able to appropriately increase their faction token cap. That's a big deal, but it's not as big a deal as some of these other fixes like invulnerability that I wish was coming. The very first thing they want to address, besides like telling us the general gist of what's going on, is that their rollout for Outpost Rush and server transfers. So after the downtime required, they will re-enable Outpost Rush and server transfers at the time listed below. So right here, US West will be enabled at 2 a.m. When downtime is complete, they'll monitor server transfers in West, and then they'll re-enable it for the remaining regions, basically 12 hours later. So, you know, whatever your time difference is from there. So if you're still looking for a server transfer, this is your time to do it. When the servers come back up, in South America, they're going to enable Outpost Rush, right? And they're just going to monitor the situation, see what's going on. So US West is going to come up at 10 a.m. tomorrow Pacific time. US East is going to come up at 12 p.m. Pacific time. They're going to slowly roll out outposts and basically see if they're working or they're not working. My theory is personally that they're going to go down at least 1 or 2 more times. I think the invulnerability issue is going to be too much of an issue. Unless they're actively banning people for taking advantage of the invulnerability. So they're removing Everfall as a starting location. So they're trying to force players into the other 3 regions. I think that's kind of interesting because it kind of treats Everfall now as like a secondary zone. So it's kind of like you have your 3 starting zones, then Everfall, and then maybe Cutlass Keys, and you've got your Brightwoods, and then your Weaver's Fen. So that's pretty interesting. I'm about it. So there was a UI error where it would show some people that first house they bought, the taxes would be reduced. Basically, that UI error is out. So any player who purchased a house before the UI fix went out will get 2,000 coin. I just bought my first house the other day, or like yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. And I really need 2,000 coins. I bought the cheapest house in the game. So they're slightly improving performance with wars. We'll really see how that goes. Slightly improve the performance of the life staff with changes to the passive abilities Mending Touch and Blissful Touch. So maybe they'll go into more detail on what those changes are later, but they're not saying anything right here. So in update 1.0.3, they corrected a bug causing companies to lose money, and basically they're going to reimburse the lost coin from companies. No big deal. So that money is going to go right into the company treasury. So they're increasing the faction token cap basically by 25% per tier. That's good. Basically, what that means is if you're grinding for a piece of 50,000 gear, you don't lose those extra faction tokens that kind of go over, or if you just want to grind some extra tokens, now you have a little bit of space to play around with it. It also means they might be adding in items that are worth a little bit more money to the final tier or any of the other tiers. So we already talked about they're fixing the issue where faction token caps weren't increased when people had completed the quest. So they fixed an issue where time would jump around on the server, so it'd be daytime, then nighttime, then daytime, whatever. There was an issue where players would lose a house in Cutlass Keys, which is a brutal bug. If you bought a house, I mean, even 2.5k, much less. If you bought a full price 20k house in Cutlass Keys and you lost it, oh, the pain. And I know quite a few people actually kind of like Cutlass. So they're saying they fixed several rare server crash issues. One of those issues better be the issue in Dynasty Shipyard on the final boss. If you hit the totems, you will likely DC. There's like a whole thing where you'll DC. Every single time I've done Dynasty Shipyard, a ranged DPS has accidentally hit the totems and got kicked out. Every single time. And if you weren't at the gate when you logged in, you got ported to Monarch's Bluff. But even, I had one guy who walked in the front gate, DC'd because of the totems, got kicked to Monarch's Bluff. So, unbelievable. Fix an issue with the suspension ban notification showing incorrect times. You know, whatever, if you were banned or suspended. I guess that applies to you. So fix an issue where people could use their server transfer tokens while they still had trading posts. You know, that was their whole thing, that you had to remove all the trading posts. So the fact that this was even an issue is unbelievable. So they fixed an issue causing some AI not to spawn in the world as intended. Sure, fantastic. Look at this. Fixed an issue where Murkgard corrupted portals in Shattered Mountain were distributing higher tier gear than intended and respawning faster than intended. I did not know that was a bug. I've definitely done a couple of portals in Shattered Mountain and had no idea this was an issue. Fixed an issue where enemies in Murkgard corrupted portals were dropping loot. Fixed an issue causing an unintended animation when interacting with the bubbling cauldron housing item. Not a massive issue to fix, nowhere near as important as invulnerability. Fixed an issue where large veins were giving a little amount of ore instead of a large amount. Fixed an issue where the war lottery timer wouldn't pause correctly. So they fixed the render distance of the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin lights. They also fixed an issue causing armor textures to flicker. So in Starstone Barrow's expedition, the arcane protection wasn't protecting players from certain lasers. I've still not done Starstone Barrows. I've done a bunch of Dynasty. I got my key for Garden of Genesis. And I'm pretty close to a Lazarus key. I haven't done Garden or Lazarus, and I'm not going to do them until I'm 591. If you don't know, don't do those dungeons until you're 591 gear score, unless, of course, you're using somebody else's key, in which case, go wild. Fix where the ice pylons would stay on an infinite cooldown. Now, this was an issue I dealt with. I recently became a Frost Hiller. Definitely had my ice pylon on infinite cooldown. Wasn't really sure what was wrong, but definitely knew it was an issue. Fixed an issue where players could obtain rings that had 2 perks sharing an exclusive perk label that shouldn't exist on the same ring. So basically, they fixed where the projectile from the ice pylon wouldn't be visible. Fixed an issue where players would be unable to complete a variety of game actions after fast traveling. Yeah, there was a ton of things. I couldn't deconstruct gear at one point. I couldn't lock gear after fast traveling. So, like, now we're moving on to the speculative fixes. These are the things that they think they fixed, but odds are they probably haven't. So they said that one of the major things they were trying to fix this patch was the AoE magic exploit, and of course they didn't even fix that. So tentatively, they fixed a war exploit where players could use an area of effect magic effects to capture rally points without taking damage. This could be improved by war performance and life stat performance updates, but we'll continue to monitor to see if the issues persist, so we'll just see if that continues. My guess is, just based on how they're talking about it, it definitely will continue. So they fixed several known issues of players being able to be invulnerable. The issue's top priority for their team, they're saying, and they say they're going to continue to track down additional causes of the issue. So they think that they fixed the invulnerability, and so we'll just have to see if exploiters can basically duplicate the exploit with these changes in place. Basically, Hatchet users, there was a thing where they could window their game and move it around and they would be invulnerable. They've also speculatively fixed an issue where players could get stuck after leaving Outpost Rush. They say it was a rare issue and their team wasn't able to reproduce it. So if their team wasn't able to reproduce it, I find it hard to believe that they were able to fix it. What could be major is if the speculative fixes work. If the AoE magic fix, if the invulnerability fix work, if both of those work, and Outpost Rush actually rolls out successfully this time, then we've got a real endgame on our hands. Anyway, what do you think about the patch notes that just came out? Also, what do you think about the October store update? What do you think about all the new skins? What do you think about the free pumpkin? If you haven't picked up your free store pumpkins or your free emote, the waiting emote that you got for the last patch yet, go ahead and right when you log back in, make sure you're logging into the store and you're grabbing this free pumpkin. You've also got these cool skins if you want to grab any of these skins. I'm thinking about grabbing up this Bloodthirsty Count skin and grabbing up this Lifestaff skin, maybe even the Musket skin. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Eternum should be up relatively soon, so please log back on. Let's grind some elite zones together. Let's have some fun, and I will see you on the road.